Lucas, mate, it's good to see you.
Nick, good to be back.
Obviously, I'm a client of yours, so I know your services really well. Mm-hmm. But can you share with everyone exactly who you are and what you do?
Yeah, man. Well, some people would call me Australia's leading biohacker.
Woof, be cool.
And I would say that's probably because I've positioned myself.
Yeah, I'd say it's fair though.
Yeah. Creating a lot of content.
Just stroking your ego.
Creating a lot of content in the biohacking space has always been a big passion of mine. And I'm also a fully qualified naturopath as well. So got this, 4 years full-time degree under my belt. Ended up becoming dux of my year level for that. So it wasn't too hard. I was studying amongst a lot of hippies in I think you know the sort of caliber there. So it wasn't too difficult to dux that. But having said that, I'm really, really passionate about creating health content and doing that on YouTube, Instagram, podcast. And I'm really passionate specifically about male hormonal optimization, so testosterone enhancement.
This is how we connected.
Yep.
Obviously, at the time, my testosterone wasn't probably where it needed to be. And then you obviously coached me on some supplements. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, of course. I actually do remember you said to me, give me everything you've got.
Yeah. Give me the hamburger with light.
Give me everything.
Yeah.
I don't want to go on testosterone. You said to me, you don't want to actually take testosterone. So then I'm like, all right, let's whip out the big guns.
Yeah.
Basically pulled out all the most powerful herbs that I know about and also clomiphene as well to leverage that.
Clomiphene's next level.
Yeah.
Man, that took me, I remember overnight, I went from feeling just okay to then, whoa, I feel like a new man.
Yeah.
Just from taking that one supplement. Obviously, they're all very synergistic, but that one supplement is an absolute game changer.
Yeah. So the combination of clomiphene with cistanche, pine pollen, shilajit, tonka ali, these different herbs basically work in unison, synergistically with clomiphene. So clomiphene, it's considered a SERM, selective estrogen receptor modulator. Basically, it tricks the brain into perceiving that there's low estrogen. And then it stimulates luteinizing hormones. So it actually re-kickstarts that testosterone pathway. And a lot of ex-bodybuilders that have been on steroids and testosterone actually use this as a PCT.
Which you know the issues I found though when these supplements are all great, but my sex hormone binding globulin went through the roof.
Yeah.
So basically I had all this testosterone and it was all bound up and I couldn't use it. But I did find with your help some solutions around that. So to lower my SHBG, I used boron.
Yep.
Stinging needle supplement.
Yep. Nettle root.
And nettle root, sorry.
Yep.
And my SHBG lowered very quickly.
Actually, since we last spoke, I've figured out another way to lower SHBG even further.
Oh, really?
And I actually did it on myself.
I didn't share it. You bastard.
Well, I learned it after we spoke properly because I was going down a rabbit hole. It wasn't the intention for this particular compound. It's called ostarine. Now, ostarine is considered Ryan Garcia got busted for using ostarine.
Yeah.
It's a performance enhancing drug. And yes, it's toxic, but the dose determines the poison. Now, if you look at the studies, 3 milligrams of ostarine is safe and effective for increasing lean body mass with a concomitant slight increase in liver enzymes, but it actually suppresses SHBG. Now, it does that even as low as 3 milligrams, which means you can take ostarine for 8 weeks.
Is this injectable, oral?
Oral.
Is it liquid form or tablet?
Powder, powder, capsule.
Okay. Wow.
So that's pretty cool because then what happens is you're going to suppress SHBG and people that start on this, if they've got high testosterone like yourself, high total T, then you use ostarine to specifically squash the SHBG. Your free T just bang, shoots up. And within a week or two, you feel amazing. And
there's no negative side effects from the SARM?
I mean, when people look up ostarine, they'll see liver toxicity, side effects and all that. But you can counteract that with glutathione, NAC, TUDCA. And then the thing is, you don't run that for a long period of time. You just use it temporarily to reduce the SHBG. And the SHBG does stay suppressed for quite some time.
What results have you seen from clients of yours that have been on these testosterone supplements?
Yeah. So probably the best results are the guys mid-40s. So similar to yourself, although your biological age is probably – what is it now? Biological age?
A little bit younger.
Yeah, okay. Seeing pretty good results in that mid-40s age range.
Yeah.
basically reigniting energy, improving muscle mass, improving recovery, improving strength, healthy mood, feeling confident, feeling resilient. These are probably the best effects that we see with guys that are going from, let's say, and their doctors will say, you're completely normal. We've had this discussion before where it's like the doctor says your results are completely normal. You could be sitting at like 280 or whatever.
Which is quite low.
Oh, it's terrible. It's like you're an 80-year-old, 50 years ago would have testosterone levels that high. So it's like you don't want to be sitting in that low end of the reference range. You want to try and, as a guy, most people listening to this podcast will want to feel amazing. They want to feel optimal. They want to feel energetic. You can't feel good at that low.
No, and that's the key. It's not about, for me, the muscle building. It was the feeling of euphoria almost when my testosterone went to another level. I'm like, oh, I can't believe I can feel this good. And my test actually has dropped, and I'm actually ordered some clomiphene and some other things actually just to give it a bit of a nudge.
Yeah.
So massive fan, and the SHBG, I'm going to...
we'll dive into it this afternoon.
Yeah, please. Mate, what about hormone therapy for females? Do you touch on that at all?
Look, I tend to handball them on to other female practitioners. Like I still have a pretty good understanding on women's health in general.
Yeah.
The same principles apply, but there's one pathway that I guess gets neglected a lot for women, and that is optimizing free T3. Most women who have like reproductive issues, or they suffer from like, they feel moody, or they feel like they've lost their libido, or they just feel just low energy. Instead of focusing on estrogen and progesterone, I think we should be focusing more on optimizing T3. So that's free thyroid hormone, the most metabolically active, energetic. To put it in simple terms, T3 is like the spark plug of the body.
And what supplements could you do? Is that iodine?
Yeah.
Or?
Iodine, we can throw in some selenium, zinc. These are all important. And then also thyroid glandular, desiccated thyroid glandular, the organ supplements.
Yeah, okay. Is that like bovine?
Yeah. So bovine thyroid glandular can work pretty well. They actually have trace amounts of like T3 and T4 in the capsule, not a lot.
Yeah.
Then the other option is you can look into like there are some pretty good herbs that can stimulate thyroid production. Coleus forskolin, I think that was also part of your stack at one stage.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And then also we can also throw in cordyceps.
All right.
So cordyceps mushroom,
Yeah.
I'm a fan of because it actually helps to increase ATP production in the body, improves lung functioning, helps in so many different ways. And if you look at it in traditional Chinese medicine, they literally say that cordyceps restores both the yin and the yang kidney essence, which is literally like the life force of the body.
Interesting. But before you do all these supplements, would you recommend doing blood work first?
Oh, for sure. So before I prescribe, and this is a lot of people just want a quick fix.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, give me something. Yeah.
But we really need to take an objective sniper rifle approach instead of just going hell for leather, just like
guns blazing. Yeah.
Because what happens is if you go all in like that without any data points, you can end up just throwing things out of whack, and you won't know where your baseline actually was. So
guilty of doing that. I'm the worst. Talking about supplements, before we jumped on, we mentioned that some supplements may cause cancer. Can you talk about some supplements that you've heard of that may have some negative side effects?
So specifically, if we're looking at cancer, I would say anything that sort of stimulates human growth hormone. So that could potentially, theoretically, for people who have existing cancers, it may actually worsen that. So that could be things like MK677, which is not really a SARM, but it's similar to that. Then if we're looking
CJC.
Potentially, yeah. This is, again, anyone who prescribes these usually does blood work before prescribing them. So as long as it's being done like that. But we were sort of speaking about different supplements that can cause harm in high doses. Now, not specifically cancer, but some serious side effects. So high dose vitamin B6. I was telling you before, I was featured on ABC News a few weeks ago talking about high dose vitamin B6 can actually, we're talking the pyridoxine hydrochloride, not P5P. P5P is the active form, which has less side effects, and you're less likely to get the toxicity. But for people, literally, like, you got mothers out there that are taking B6 about 50 milligrams a day, every day for months.
And doesn't that store in your body never leaves? Is that correct?
That's what ends up happening. And so they get these toxicity symptoms. They'll get something called peripheral neuropathy, where they get like numbness and tingling over their body. And this can be a lasting side effect. So it's not really discussed much online, but recently it's started to really become more of a viral topic.
So basically, that form of B6 obviously never touch and stay away from. Any other supplements you would be cautious in recommending to people?
The only other one potentially is kava extract.
The Fijian drink.
The Fijian drink, if it's improperly synthesized or manufactured, the kava lactones, when used chronically, that's like the active ingredient, could lead to some degree of like liver toxicity, not cancer. It's really hard to say with cancer. There's not many supplements that will like speed up proliferation. Yeah, a lot of them actually have anti-cancer properties. Like vitamin D, anti-cancer properties. Like literally, if you look at the data, higher levels of vitamin D increases your likelihood of survival from breast cancer and things like that.
What are your thoughts on supplementing with high dose vitamin D? And I do 10,000 IU per day. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's a negative, a positive, or depends on the person?
It depends on the blood work. So like if we go back to the blood work, if you're doing 10,000 IU, some guys, they need 10,000 IU to hover at around 150.
One's at 190.
So I can pretty much max it out.
Yeah, it's quite high.
So if your vitamin D does end up going that high, it can drive up calcium. So calcium in your blood goes up, and calcium in the blood can be, it could be, a little bit, it can be problematic in the long run.
But if you're taking K2 with it should be fine.
Yeah.
So, okay. Do you take vitamin D yourself?
I try to actually optimize levels through sunlight exposure. So I personally very rarely will use vitamin D supplementation because I'm able to keep my levels high enough through sunlight exposure. Alternatively, I've also got a vitamin D lamp, like a Spurdy vitamin D lamp.
Yeah.
And that can also, just 3 minutes a day can boost your vitamin D levels pretty well.
Yeah, I use that during winter. I've got one at home. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Nice.
But there's guys like Brian Johnson who go, I want to live a very long time. I want to look young. So he refuses to go in the sun. So the issue is when you go into the sun too much, it can obviously cause skin damage. Do you believe in that?
But we're missing out on all the other benefits associated with sunlight exposure. People, like, for example, yes, sun can damage the skin if you're in it for too long. But like there's literally data points illustrating that sunlight exposure to the body, physical, like even the chest area, can literally increase testosterone levels. So like doesn't matter for Brian Johnson because he's on testosterone, I think. It's part of his stack.
I think he still is, yeah.
So it's like, he's sort of shortcutting that bit. But I mean, first of all, most people want to get a tan. Like, and also looking dark is somewhat trendy, I'd say. Like tanned.
Well, Dave Asprey promotes melanotan. So melanotan's an injectable drug that basically gives you a nice all over tan.
I've got a few mates on that right now.
It works.
Yeah.
I've used it before in the past. And when the thing about melanotan, it does make you brown. But the issue is if you've got moles or freckles, it makes them a lot darker. That's the only issue I found with it. And it gives you, basically makes my face go red for about 10 minutes and then dissipates. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's definitely one way. But I'd say like, so vitamin D megadose, like you said before, it's really beneficial during periods of acute colds or flus or sickness. Like I'm not going to mention the C word here, but beneficial effects on, let's say the next big virus breaks out, right? There's another one from like China. And it's like, if you don't have vitamin D in your pantry, you're simply missing out because during that period where there was a pandemic, vitamin D, zinc, and NAC were sold out on iHerb and Amazon.
A bit of ivermectin as well.
And that's another one to keep on standby.
I've actually got a stash of it.
Nice.
So what are your thoughts around sleep? So, because there's a big thing. You've got hormones, you've got sleep, you've got day-to-day life. Sleep is a big issue for a lot of people, including me. How would you optimize a person's sleep and where would you start?
Yeah, first and foremost, I like to say that good quality sleep starts the moment you wake up that day. So what I mean by that is similar to what Huberman emphasizes, which is outside light exposure. You're probably already doing that. And also Another factor there is like trying to fall asleep and wake up roughly at the same time every day is beneficial for your body because it sort of helps synchronize your circadian rhythm. I think key areas that I see people going wrong when it comes to optimizing sleep is they'll forget to optimize their food intake, specifically 2 to 3 hours before bedtime.
So they're having too much food before bed.
Immediately before bed. Yeah. Usually like half an hour.
It's the worst thing you can do.
It's really bad. Like it will just completely affect your sleep quality. Pitch black room, block out the curtains, just optimizing, minimizing light exposure. Wearing an eye mask, I still wear one as well.
Yeah, I wear one.
I incline my bed as well, slightly.
Yeah, I do because of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does that work?
I find it's good sometimes I get reflux and I'm just genetic, like my dad gets it as well. Like it helps with reducing reflux.
Top of my bed, I've actually got dumbbell plates at the base of the bed, and they've lifted up at least 4 or 5 inches.
Yeah, nice.
I'm like, what am I doing? Have I gone too far with this?
No way, nah. I mean, there's you look at the research on the lymphatic drainage that helps the brain to detoxify toxins and helps to remove, dead cells and things like that. So I think some people report improvements in like if they've got back pain, some people see improvements in that area. The varicose veins as well. That's a big one. So, and also reducing nighttime urination.
Yeah, okay.
There's something to that. Yeah.
Interesting. And how about supplements for sleep?
Yeah, look, there's quite a few pretty powerful ones. Inositol.
Maybe we break it up, sorry. Maybe we go, okay, what's a supplement to help you get to sleep? And then maybe a supplement to help you stay asleep.
All right. So first of all, to get to sleep, like as in sleep onset, basically what we want to do is we want to reduce the amount of excitatory neurotransmitters in the brain. So we want to basically shut off the catecholamines, dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine. Like we want to be reducing the activity of these in the brain. How do we do that? Well, we minimize screen time. We minimize like deep thinking activities. We try not to stress about too many things. And we can also use a range of different supplements that actually help to suppress the production of these neurotransmitters. Now, one in particular, I don't usually prescribe it unless I need to like whip out the big guns. It's a particular constituent from Corydalis extract. Corydalis extract has been used in Chinese medicine to support sleep. It's a Shen tonic, so basically helps with reducing nervousness, worry, anxiety, fear, that sort of stuff. And it contains an antipsychotic ingredient called L-tetrahydropalmitine, LTHP. Now, back in the day, a few of my nootropic nerdy friends got their hands on some LTHP.
Yeah.
And that can suppress dopamine and norepinephrine and shut off the excitatory signals very, very well.
And quickly as well?
Within half an hour.
Oh, wow.
So it's really effective in that regard. Doesn't have too much carryover effects so that you're not feeling super groggy the next day.
Okay, that's great.
And so if you stack that with like magnesium, so like a magnesium glycinate, some people are sensitive to the magnesium glycinate. Some people like myself actually get stimulated from magnesium glycinate.
Is that right?
Yeah. So there's just got to be careful with some of the magnesiums. It could be. I've heard enough reports now where some people are like, I can't take magnesium glycinate before bed.
Can't sleep.
Yeah. So it might mean you just got to switch it up to a magnesium L-threonate or citrate. There's two other, they're decent. Like they still get absorbed.
Okay.
Then if we're looking at optimizing like in terms of like staying asleep, right? We want melatonin levels to be high throughout the night. And in order to do that, we need to optimize precursors, so like tryptophan and serotonin.
Yeah.
You can use melatonin, like melatonin extended release for some people. They'll find that's actually good for their ability to stay asleep.
But the issue with some of these extended release tablets is they've got B6 in them, the wrong form of B6.
Yeah.
So that's, because I've got a few at home, like B6, it's B6 again.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there are ones on the market. They're just US companies. There's like extended release versions and stuff. So I'd say another factor there is, and this doesn't really get talked about, but that is we want to basically keep liver glycogen, so liver carbohydrate stores, replenished before bed. Now, for some people, it might mean that they need to have a little bit of honey with some oats or yogurt, Greek yogurt at nighttime.
Yeah.
And that is enough to keep them like not going into what happens is if your body senses low blood sugar, let's just put it this way. If you have low blood sugar during your sleep, you'll wake up.
Yeah.
It causes micro awakenings.
Yeah.
So why? Because cortisol gets released, adrenaline gets released to bring blood sugar back up. So if you go to bed without issues with blood sugar regulation, then you should be okay. And that's where inositol really fits in nicely as well, because it has the GABA effects and the blood sugar stabilizing effect as well.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so someone wakes up during the middle of the night, could be their glucose levels are dropping.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Or
any other reasons potentially?
Body temperature.
Oh, yeah.
So too hot.
Yeah.
You wake up when you're too hot. The bed should be cooler as well. I've got a 8-sleep mattress that does the
they're good.
temperature regulation.
Do you believe in using aircon as well?
I'd love to, but my girlfriend just can't handle it.
Oh, really?
It's annoying. I'd love to, but I personally, if I had the bed to myself, then I'd blast the air conditioner, keep it cool. But I think keeping it cool is one thing. Any micro amounts of light, so like little red lights or little blue lights that come off chargers and stuff like that, get rid of them.
Yeah, I need to fix that in my room actually. It's a problem. Now, at the moment we're in the silly season, so a lot of people are drinking alcohol. I don't think you do. No. What would you recommend as an alternative to alcohol? If they still want to get that buzz, but obviously don't want the negative side effects of alcohol.
Yeah, so recently I've sort of pioneered this brand new supplement that I've just released, and it's a particular herbal extract from Brazil. Now, if you go to South America and you mention, hey, do you like to, let's say you go up to the bar or the guy working at the bar or like even a shaman, you say, I'm looking to have a good time. Do you have any catuaba? They'll be like,
catuaba.
Yeah.
I've ordered some. So I'm looking forward to trying it.
Yeah, so this catuaba is pretty unique in the sense that it's, first of all, it's an aphrodisiac from Brazil. So it's been used historically to ignite libido in men and women.
Yeah.
So both men and women can benefit. Secondly, it also works on the dopamine system. Now, it does it in a way that's atypical or not the same as like caffeine, nicotine, cocaine, amphetamines, all that sort of stuff. It's believed to work as a dopamine reuptake inhibitor, and it does that in a very mild way. Some of the alkaloids found in catuaba possess that effect. And when most people use catuaba, the first few times after taking it, they'll report feeling more socially fluent, more confident.
So does it relax you or does it give you energy?
Puts people in a good mood, like a good mood state. So like a state where you actually want to, like for me, sometimes I find if I've been working all day, let's say it's Friday and it's like time to go out on the Friday night. It's like sometimes I find it hard to switch out of that work intense mode.
Yeah.
And it's like, instead of resorting to alcohol to loosen you up, this is where catuaba can be really beneficial.
Interesting. So if I've got a massive presentation, just to say 100 people, would you recommend I take it before the presentation?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's basically almost like a natural version of a beta blocker.
Yeah, you could say so. Yeah, because that's used obviously to reduce fear and anxiety and reduce the heart rate. We did find, and I was sort of saying this to you before, that some users have reported increases in HRV from our catuaba. Now, I might mention when people look up catuaba, and I really want people to do so, when they Google catuaba benefits, and you'll see some insane historical, like traditional usages and like the reports on Reddit as well and different forums. Everyone loves this herb. Everyone just raves on about it. And I'm like, I've kept it in my back pocket for years. And yeah, now finally, we've named it Catwa Pure, and we've actually trademarked the name Catwa Pure because it's extremely hard to source legitimate catuaba from South America. Like we had to get it sent off to a lab to get checked and had to pass third-party assessment to prove that it's legit. Because a lot of these South American companies, they fake. They'll just send you not even real catuaba.
Good luck with it, mate. That's great.
Yeah.
Mate, another question I want to ask you. My father, who I had dinner with recently, my dad has plaque in his arteries. and he's on statins. Would you recommend statins for people, or do you think there's alternatives that people could look at? Because statins is obviously a huge drug that a lot of people use.
Yeah, I think there's a definite time and place for statins, particularly in like extreme cases where they're at high risk for severe heart attack and or recovering from one. But there's definitely complementary supplements that can work in tandem with some of these statins.
Is that like a nattokinase?
Yeah. Nattokinase is phenomenal. Bromelain is another one from pineapple that helps to reduce fibrin and scar tissue, things like that. Coenzyme Q10 as well, 300 milligrams a day of ubiquinol is quite good.
Would you go to CoQ10 or ubiquinol?
Well, ubiquinol.
Okay.
Yeah, ubiquinol's more efficacious. And then anything that can support like cardiac tissue and also reducing hypoxia. So basically that's low oxygen or ischemia. There's compounds out there that can, and actually funnily enough, Maria Sharapova, I don't know if you remember this.
Tennis player?
Yeah, she got in trouble for using a particular drug to support the heart. And I've actually used that drug, by the way.
What's the drug?
Meldonium. She reckons it wasn't having any performance enhancing effects, but
I'm sure it would.
I know for sure it does because I've used it and it really does work. And I've got a bunch of clients and friends who are using it.
It might just say she goes, my friend gave it to me accidentally, slipped into my mouth.
There's more and more athletes sort of getting done with these compounds, but meldonium's one of those ones that initially was designed to actually protect the heart against low oxygen states. It's actually used post-heart attacks as well.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's really well known in Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah, so if anyone's potentially got heart issues, you'd recommend CoQ10.
Yep. Nattokinase,
bromelain,
and potentially meldonium.
Yeah. And that's if you take these, even if you don't have any heart issues, would you recommend people take them just for preventative reasons?
General health and energy and vitality, yeah, could definitely help with these areas.
Yeah, excellent. Now, in your mind, what are the best and probably most useful supplements out there? So if you don't mind, give me your top 5 supplements that you think everyone should take, male and female.
Okay. So first and foremost, I think taurine can benefit most people. I put it as number 1. That is because, first of all, we live in a society where everyone's super stressed and super on edge, and magnesium just doesn't cut it for most people. That's where taurine can just add another anti-stress action or anti-stress effect. And we're looking at around 3 to 5 grams a day.
So that's what potentially 5 tablets a day, because each tablet is usually 1 gram.
Yeah.
So that's quite a lot.
Well, you can get the powder form and just do like a full teaspoon in the morning.
Hasn't taurine been proven to lengthen life as well? Isn't it a recent study that says it potentially can?
Yeah, there was an amazing animal study recently that came out about taurine's life extension properties. It literally makes no sense for anyone to like disregard it. Like if you look at it basically blocks fluoride's negative effects on the body as well. And also BPA, it stops BPA or xenoestrogens from damaging the testes as well.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is okay. I do take taurine, but not enough. I take 2 grams, but maybe I'll increase that to 5.
Yeah. Toxicity wise, basically.
Do you take it personally?
5 grams a day, every day.
Every day?
Every morning.
Have you noticed a difference?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've had, in terms of anti-stress effects or like general calmness, yes, it definitely helps in that regard. Not just, when you get to boiling point, it just caps that.
Yeah.
It just brings that down.
Can you take it in the evening as well, or it has to be in the morning?
Some people prefer to use taurine at nighttime. I personally feel like I get the anxiolytic effects or anti-stress effects in the morning that last throughout the day. In addition to that, it also has a hypoglycemic effect. So I've worn a CGM, and I've actually seen that when I take a big dose of taurine, it can actually drop my blood sugar levels as well.
Oh, wow.
Which is awesome.
I'm going to test that. Okay, so number 1 is taurine.
Yep.
Number 2?
Number 2 is the other one that I actually take very often is TUDCA.
I've heard about this. Can you, please tell us.
Yeah, so if you were to look into, basically TUDCA is a liver protective supplement. Now, you'll see it prescribed for liver disease, cirrhosis, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, alcohol damage, acetaminophen or a Panadol overdose to recover the liver as well.
Or maybe someone who's taking a lot of prescription medications as well.
For sure. Yeah. Some antibiotics that are toxic as well.
Yeah.
And the reality is a lot of people are living in, today's society, there's so many things that are toxic. The reason why I take about a gram of TUDCA, which is a pretty high dose, by the way, 1 gram, 1,000 milligrams of TUDCA every single day is because, number one, I know that I'm protecting my liver every day and I want something there. Number two is it actually helps to increase digestion or improve digestion, specifically aiding in fat-soluble vitamin absorption. So vitamins A, D, E, K absorption.
Oh, really? So it's actually increased the absorption of synthetic vitamins you take or just food?
Both. It would do both.
Oh, wow.
Food and supplements. So beneficial effects there. And then third is that it actually has that beneficial effect on increasing T3, that thyroid hormone that I was talking about before that's so important. So definitely recommend TUDCA as well.
So TUDCA number 2. I hadn't heard of that before, and so thank you for that. I'm going to add that to the list. What's number 3?
Number 3, I would put this down for like most people, creatine monohydrate.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it's not one that I'm sort of dipping my toes here and there. I'm playing with other compounds. I'm trying not to confound the variables, but
because you were also a fan of
creatine.
Creatine, that's it.
So that's a creatine monohydrate plus GAA combined together. Most people look at the literature and they'll agree that creatine monohydrate is the most studied form. That's correct. Yeah. But if you add the precursor, GAA, guanidinoacetic acid, if you add that in as a precursor, that can actually saturate brain So it basically saturates creatine levels in the brain even higher than just creatine monohydrate. So that would be number 3. Number 4.
So what are the main benefits of creatine?
All right. First of all, increases ATP production in the body, which is the energy currency of the entire body. So what does that translate to? Improvements in memory performance, cognitive performance, specifically in sleep deprivation as well. During sleep deprivation.
I had some this morning.
You can even go up to as high as like 15 grams, by the way, 15 to 20 grams a day.
But wouldn't that put stress in the kidneys if you're doing too much of it?
Look, in order to get the kidney damage and all side effects, you need to be having a significant amount of creatine to get you need to be having a lot.
What do they call it in the blood work? Creatinine?
Creatinine. Yeah. Or EGFR is another one. But having said that, if you're taking taurine and you're taking TUDCA, they're both kidney protective supplements. So then this is what I mean by you want to have this insurance policy by using something like TUDCA. If you're using big doses of other things and you're trialing different stuff, what I said before about ostarine, which is a SARM, you need some sort of liver support just running in the background. Yeah. It's like installing a antivirus software on a PC. That's what I like to look at.
Yeah, TUDCA is a good one.
Yeah.
Sorry, you just buy that online, by the way, TUDCA?
Yeah. It's easy to find. Yeah. Number 4 is actually probably a new one. I had 2 tablets before I came here, actually today. I also used it before my talk in Dubai when I was speaking on stage as well. And I really find it's great for verbal fluency and just locking in and zoning in, getting in the zone. It's called Actovigen.
Actovigen?
Yeah, Actovigen was used by Lance Armstrong. He was actually…
Injected in his thigh, did he?
He did. He was using it alongside EPO to benefit from its it's basically Actovigen it's not really a drug. It's a deproteinized calf blood extract.
And this is your top 5. Remember this. So this is the thing you're going to use for the next 10 years.
Well, all the ones I'm mentioning so far have minimal toxicity and/or can be used long term.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be putting in anything here that is toxic.
Yeah.
It has to be sustainable. This is sustainable. This Actovigen is sustainable. Basically, it's a deproteinized calf blood extract. And the way they describe it is that it's like poor man's EPO. So if you can't get EPO and you can't dope and cheat with EPO, then you can use Actovigen to sort of mimic the benefits of having high red blood cells.
And main benefits of that are?
Energy, cardiovascular fitness, VO2 max goes up, mental clarity, glucose oxidation. So you have to remember that if you're having something like this, you need to eat a shitload more carbs. because it drives up carbohydrate. It basically you just burn through carbohydrates.
So if you're on keto, it's not going to work for you.
I wouldn't recommend it. No. And that also enables me to then go and enjoy some of the best foods ever.
Yeah. So you can have some pasta.
Rice, pasta, bread.
Oh, good pasta. I haven't eaten in ages.
Come on. I mean, who doesn't want to enjoy those foods?
Yeah, true.
It's like going out you get to enjoy it.
So you're not that strict with your diet these days?
Look, I'm pretty well balanced. Like there was a period of time where I was like, what can I do to max out testosterone as high as possible naturally?
Yeah.
There was a specific diet protocol for that. I've now since dropped that, and I've got a pretty happy medium where I'm doing like, if you did track it and check what's the macro split, fats, proteins, carbs, it's probably about 30. It's pretty well balanced, like 30, 40, 30.
Yeah, okay. So it's just a good, wholesome diet.
Yeah. It's not like, there's obviously key foods that I love and I'll keep in my routine quite a lot, like blueberries, sourdough bread, good quality grass-fed butter, the best butter, that Paris, the butter from Paris, so good. Raw honey as well. Yeah. Just so good. Maple syrup, and then also Greek yogurt or sheep.
How about kefir?
That's another one it's not stocked in my fridge. But
would you recommend it to people?
Most people can benefit, yeah.
Yeah.
Sheep milk yogurt.
Yep.
That's nice. Goat's milk yogurt as well. Just, they're great. Like high protein, good prebiotics in there and stuff like that. So then we've sort of spoken about those, and then
fifth and final.
Far up. Long term, you mean like sustainable?
You wouldn't put magnesium in there or D3 with K2?
Oh, I mean, yeah,
𝐂𝐴𝐻10.
we could put those in there.
This is your list.
Well, it's not. Yeah, I would say let's say general population, because the general population, vitamin D3 with K2 can benefit most people. The reason I say that is because if you look at the data, look at the data points, vitamin D, most people are very low. And it's funny how people think when they go outside for their lunch break and they're wearing like a shirt and they're wearing like long pants, they get the sun, they eat lunch in the sun, they're like, oh, I'm getting so much vitamin D. I'm like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Like you're not.
Yeah. One last question for you. And I'm going to ask this question because Steve wanted me to ask you this question. Can you talk about raw carrots and their benefits?
Yeah. So the raw carrot salad, which is basically popularized by one of my favorite doctors who unfortunately passed away, Dr. Ray Peat. He talked about eating raw carrots.
It makes me nervous when you say this doctor was pushing this regime and then they passed away. It always makes me nervous when people say that.
Well, dude, what if Brian Johnson, it wouldn't just, like, let's just say.
I think it's unlikely he'll pass away.
Very unlikely, but like, let's say in the next 10 years he does. It wouldn't discredit his information. You wouldn't then say his info is bad, right?
Oh, yeah. It puts a spanner in the works.
Really?
Yeah.
What if it's like
it's like Charles Poliquin.
Yeah.
The bodybuilder. He had
But there's a lot of
heart issues.
There's so many bodybuilders like that just drop dead.
But he lived naturally, trained, didn't drink alcohol, and then passed away in his late 50s, I believe. Don't quote me on that.
Right.
I know, it just makes me a little bit nervous when they preach health and then they pass away.
Well, this guy was like 79. So I know it's not
it's a decent run.
It's not bad. He had he had dyslexia. I think he couldn't speak properly for a long time. Anyway, so Dr. Ray Peat popularized the benefits of raw carrots salad. So basically, I had some this morning actually before my mincemeat. So you grate the carrots and you put in a little bit of like coconut oil over the top, and then a little bit of apple cider vinegar. And that combination there, if you take that, like obviously consume that every day, can just dramatically improve your poops, your stool quality.
So is that for gut health, is it?
Yeah. It literally lowers endotoxin.
But is that the raw carrots? Because you mentioned coconut oil.
Yep.
Is that the coconut oil or is it the raw carrots?
Oh, it's more, you can do it even without the coconut oil and just do the raw carrots just by itself with a bit of salt, no oil, and you still get the gut health benefits.
No greens, no nothing, just the raw carrots?
No, just by itself. It's incredible. Like the number of people I've prescribed that to have reported benefits is insane. Like
someone who's constipated,
bloating, gas. Anyone who has high endotoxin in the gut can benefit dramatically.
Okay. Interesting.
Greater carrots.
You just mentioned coconut oil, and the reason I'm going to ask this question, on the way here, I was listening to a podcast around coconut oil and the benefits it has on the thyroid. Do you know much about this and how the coconut oil, or how coconut oil can impact the thyroid?
Was this who was talking about that? Which podcast?
It was.
He's from America?
No, it's from India.
India.
Yeah, I know. It was unique. It was unique. I went down a rabbit hole. Do you know much about coconut oil and the benefits?
Oh, for sure. I mean, looking at so like specifically for thyroid, coconut oil, I'm not sure whether or not it actually has beneficial effects on the thyroid. It's a saturated fatty acid, so it's mostly most of the benefits come from the 𝐂𝐴, the caprylic acid, which is what Dave Asprey combined with bulletproof, for bulletproof coffee.
MCT oil.
But I'd say, look, I have coconut oil in my pantry. These are the oils that I have: olive oil, extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah,
has to be there.
I bought Brian Johnson's one. It was okay. It was bloody expensive.
Did it have the peppery aftertaste?
Yeah, it had peppery aftertaste.
But does your normal extra virgin olive oil? Really?
No.
So your other one that you get from Australia
doesn't have the strong peppery aftertaste. But it should.
It's probably fake as well. It should have a peppery aftertaste.
It's a good brand, and it's.
Is it?
Well, now you've got me concerned. But I just found his bottle was decent but expensive.
Right. Yeah. So if you look at it, olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil. I have that in my pantry.
Yeah.
Ghee as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then obviously I've got grass-fed butter in the fridge. There's no sunflower oil. There's no canola oil.
Yeah, no
There's no soybean oil. There's none of those. The only closest thing that I probably have is like, I was going to say coconut syrup. I've been having coconut syrup to have on top of yogurt. You should try this combination. Greek yogurt with coconut syrup.
Yeah.
And then add in some guar gum, that PHGG.
Yeah.
Mix that in. It's like literally like a thick, those Froyos.
Oh.
It's like that.
Awesome. What are your thoughts on some doctors are concerned that high doses of coconut oil can increase your cholesterol levels, and then obviously that can lead to clogged arteries, etc. Do you believe that is correct or potentially a myth?
I don't believe that. I think that heart attacks and cardiovascular health, we need to look beyond just cholesterol. And Peter Attia also discusses this and a few other.
But he's also taking a statin. That's why I can't work out these longevity gurus are taking statins, which obviously lowers your cholesterol but lowers your testosterone.
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense because I followed what Peter Attia did. Took the statin and my testosterone tanked.
Yeah, and you feel terrible.
And I felt awful.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit nervous around. There's still a lot of unknowns in this space, and people are still learning. But I think when you're preaching certain things, it has a flow-on effect.
Let's hope that AI can help to fast track this whole health.
I think it
confusion.
Will. It's all going to come.
I can't wait. I'm actually super excited.
So about a year ago, I stopped drinking coffee. Mm-hmm. The other reason being, I was getting the jitters every time I had a cup of coffee. In your experience, are there any decent alternatives out there to coffee?
Yeah. So first and foremost,
I should clarify, for those who actually get the jitters or genetically they shouldn't be drinking coffee because they just can't process it correctly.
Yeah. So there's definitely a portion of the population that they do respond negatively to caffeine.
Yeah.
Causes the jitters, they feel a bit anxious and just can increase blood pressure. What I really want to emphasize is this new molecule that my mentor, he's the world's greatest supplement formulator, Sean Wells. Shout out to Sean.
Wow, it's a big call.
It is a big call, but he's patented many famous ingredients and, he's well respected in this space. It's called paraxanthine. Paraxanthine is the metabolite of caffeine. Now it's spelled P-A-R-A, so P-A-R-A-X-A-N-T-I-T-H-I-N-E.
Not related to astaxanthin?
Not related. It's the primary metabolite of caffeine. Now, the good thing is they've been able to actually extract this paraxanthine and create it into a powder format, into a capsule format. And the unique thing about paraxanthine is that it can actually increase energy and motivation and also mood and things like that without the blood pressure rise without the same level of tolerance build up as caffeine, and also reduces the anxiety and the jitters. So paraxanthine, just mark my words, in 2025, I think it's going to be, you'll start to see it popping up.
Is that a tablet or is that a powder? How do you take it?
Well, you can buy it in capsule format. So it's basically a powder, but you wouldn't, first of all, you can't buy it as a powder format because it's only 100 milligrams per dosage, and you don't want to it's like playing with caffeine powder sort of thing. It's a bit risky.
The best thing about coffee though is actually just sitting there in the morning with a beautiful cup of coffee that tastes great. And I'm like, yes, I'm about to get jitters, but I'm going to enjoy every inch and sip of this coffee. And then when I get the jitters, I'm like, I have another coffee to counteract the jitters. And I just compound the issue. So I actually do miss drinking that beautiful cup of coffee. So with this, yes, you get the benefits, but you still can't enjoy the taste and the flavor, can you?
No, we can just have decaf coffee and then you have…
What's the point?
Yeah, you could combine it with this paraxanthine.
Okay, so you can combine the two and then still get the taste and
the benefits without the side effects.
I'll try that. That's good.
Yeah. So paraxanthine's one to keep an eye out for in the next couple of years.
So from our discussions, I know that you're not a massive fan of ashwagandha. Because I'm going to tell you, I am taking ashwagandha at the moment with GABA and L-theanine just to help me be stress less and be calm. Can you tell us why you really dislike ashwagandha?
Yeah, so ashwagandha, whilst it's effective for reducing stress, anxiety, helping with cortisol, it does have a bit of a nasty side, like a really dark side. And I actually call it the devil's herb for that. That's my nickname for it. Now, the reason why I say this is because after many years studying the effects of ashwagandha and understanding what it's specifically doing in the body, we've actually come to the conclusion, and this is myself and a bunch of research buddies of mine who are also into understanding neuroscience and things like that, that it can actually mimic some of the effects associated with SSRIs or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So it can actually have a very similar effect on serotonin production in the brain. Now you might be thinking, Lucas, what's wrong with serotonin? Like that's, does it matter that we're increasing serotonin? Like what's the drawbacks? Well, serotonin, when in high amounts, can actually offset and blunt the effects of dopamine, meaning that it can actually have more of a numbing effect on our emotions. It can blunt the pleasure response. And what's the point of having high testosterone if you can't actually feel that euphoric, that dopamine buzz, the high after exercise? This is where ashwagandha can actually blunt. People will say when they use ashwagandha, they can't experience the highs or the lows in life. So that's
basically everything plateaus to a degree.
Well, it's like having a blunting effect. So you're just hovering in this, like everything is dull, sort of nothing is really bad, nothing is really good. Everything is just like meh.
How do you find ashwagandha for sleep? Because a lot of people take it for sleep.
Yeah. I think there's many other fantastic herbs that can be used for sleep. Magnolia bark is one of them. Corydalis, like I mentioned before, lemon balm is another one. In terms of lowering stress and cortisol, there's other ways to do that apart from ashwagandha.
Okay. You heard it here first. Ashwagandha is the devil's herb. Do not touch it. Yeah. And I'm going to throw mine in the bin today.
Awesome.
Mate, that was great. Thank you, Lucas, mate. And obviously wish you all the best.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Awesome.